Chapter 9 is titled, I Am Offered a Quest. So the very next morning after chapter 8 ends, Chiron actually moves Percy to cabin 3, because now that we know that he's been claimed, and he's in cabin 3, he's all by himself, and he's absolutely miserable. He doesn't seem to like it. He started feeling good about being in 11. He was feeling part of a community, and now he had been separated from everybody, so he's having a hard time with that. Luke begins to train Percy one-on-one, pushing him even harder, and he tells Percy that he's going to need all the training he can get if he's going to protect himself from monsters like the Hellhound that they encountered. Percy discovers that he is a wanted criminal in the mortal world, accused of his mother's disappearance. And somebody who doesn't like Percy posts an article about this on his cabin door. And then Percy has another vivid dream. He dreams of two wrestler-type men fighting each other on a beach. The city in the background, however, in this dream does not look like New York City. And the wrestlers in his dream are wearing ancient Greek-style clothing. One of the wrestlers shouts, "Give it back, give it back." And in his dream, he tries to stop these wrestlers from fighting, but he is unable to move or even speak in this dream that he's having. He does hear an evil and cold voice from down below, laughing and saying, "Come down, little hero, come down." So that could be something to do with Hades in the underworld. The earth opens wide underneath Percy's feet, and he falls down into the abyss. And then Percy wakes up in a sweat, and when he wakes up from this dream, another storm is brewing outside. And this is when Mr. D summons Percy. And he's worried that the gods are fighting because of him, because his existence means that Poseidon broke a very serious oath. And he figures that Mr. D might be going to kill him or something. And the storm is getting bigger and bigger. It never, ever rains at Camp Half-Blood. But the storm's clouds are usually roll past the camp. But today, it looks like it's going to rain. And Mr. D gives Percy two choices. Percy can either let Mr. D turn him into an Atlantic dolphin, or Percy can go on a quest. Mr. D is on his way to Mount Olympus for a meeting, and he says that if Percy is still at Camp Half-Blood when he returns, he'll turn him into a dolphin for sure. Percy wants to know what this quest business is all about, so he chooses to take the quest. Chiron tells Percy that Zeus and Poseidon are having the worst fight in centuries. Zeus's symbol of power, which is the master of the lightning bolt, has been stolen. And Zeus blames Poseidon and thinks he got a hero to steal it for him. And now that Poseidon has openly claimed Percy as his son, everyone thinks that Percy is the one who ended up stealing the lightning bolt that belonged to Zeus. Poseidon, we know, rules the ocean, and the Cyclops that are under the ocean, they made Zeus's master bolt, so Zeus thinks that he is having tons of copies made so that he can wage war on his brother. It is time for someone to find the master bolt before the World War III erupts. The deadline for fasting, we know that the deadline for finding this master lightning bolt is the summer solstice, which is on June 21st. This is where Percy comes in, and he's going to go on this quest to find the lightning bolt that was stolen. And Chiron sends Percy upstairs to the attic to have a chat with the oracle there. And then when he goes up there, he sees that the attic is full of ancient stuff, old Greek hero stuff. It has monster parts, and he says that it smells like reptiles. And then all of a sudden, when he's up in this attic looking at this ancient stuff, a mummy of a woman opens its mouth and green smoke pours out. The green smoke forms the image of Smelly Gabe and his buddies playing poker. And the oracle says, I am the spirit of Delphi, the speaker of prophecies of Apollo, slayer of the mighty python. Approach, seeker, and ask. And so Percy goes up to the oracle and he asks him what his destiny is. And the smoke image of Smelly Game turns to Percy and says, you shall go west and face the god who has turned. And another smoke person says, you shall find what was stolen and see it safely returned. So they tell him he needs to go west and face the god who has turned and also return what has stolen. And then the third one says, you shall be betrayed by the one who calls you a friend. So he learns that somebody's going to betray him. The fourth one, and you shall fail to save what matters most in the end. Then the mummy inhales the green mist, closes her mouth, and Percy is left with tons of questions. What friend? What matters most? So after he speaks with the oracle, he goes back to Chiron and Grover and tells them everything he heard. Everything except being betrayed by a friend and failing to save what matters most. He does not tell them that. He decides to keep this info from Chiron and Grover. Chiron senses that Percy, however, though, is keeping something from him, but he doesn't push him to tell him. Chiron helps Percy and Grover figure out they must travel to Hades in order to recover the Master Bolt. Hades is the god who has turned against his brothers. We know Zeus and Poseidon. Hades must have had someone steal the Master Bolt for him so that Zeus and Poseidon would wage war on another. We know Hades is the god of the underworld, which means that Percy and Grover have a ticket. Chiron supposes that Hades must have a spy at Camp Half-Blood, because only someone with camp boundaries could have summoned that hellhound, and hellhounds come from Hades. So Chiron's wondering how that got in there. Chiron guesses that Hades wants to kill Percy before he begins his quest to recover the bolt. Hades doesn't want peace restored between Zeus and Poseidon. Percy asks why they just can't tell the gods that they suspect Hades has had the Master Bolt stolen from him. And Chiron tells him that suspecting and knowing are two different things, and gods can't invade each other's territories. So it has to be a hero that retrieves the bolt. And